rise. Flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Ms. Mallett? Here. Ms. Jarvis?
Here.
Mr. Antonopoulos?
Here.
Mr. Abiscato?
Here.
Mr. Grillo?
Here.
Mr. Donovan?
Here.
Ms. Keith is absent. Ms. Alcieri?
Present.
Mr. Bruno?
Here. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the following means. Annual notice was sent to the Herald and News, the Record, the South Bergenite, the Observer, Township Clerk, and posted in the lobby of the Town Hall and Board Office, setting forthcoming scheduled work meetings and public meeting of the Board. Budget. Presentation. Scott has a detailed presentation of the budget that he's going to be putting up on the screen. We would appreciate you holding your questions until the end, and he will answer any questions that you have concerning the budget. We're going to go downstairs.
Give me a couple minutes at the screen. I can put the floor down here. Our big screen is probably up on the stage, so I can't drop them. So if you're in the back, I want to move to the middle so you can see what I'm doing. Everyone seen the bell? Everybody ready? All right, welcome to the Lyndhurst Public School District 2018-19 budget presentation. I will cover 18-19 budget and the deficits that we have so far, okay? So let me proceed. All right, important objectives for tonight's presentation. I'll review the budget principles. I'll review the 2018-19 highlights. I will budget the cost-saving measures we have in place. I will cover district expenditures. I will cover the district revenues. I will cover tax implications. And I will cover the current deficit calculations. And as you can see by my slide, it's school year 16-17, and I'll introduce school year 17-18. Now remember, the deficits from 16-17 and 17-18 were kind of built up before I finally able to cover what's going on, okay? So it's been going on for a while, and now I have back behind the auditor, and I can now pull out the numbers, okay? Any questions so far? Yes. Now, there are basic budgeting guidelines that we must follow as a district, and I'll go through them now. Continue excellence of Lyndhurst Public School District. Maintain the continued focus on teaching, learning for the entire school community, and placing available resources where they have the greatest impact on classroom learning while maintaining fiscal responsibility. That's the goal of the Board of Ed. Okay? Now, establishing the 18-19 budget. When I first came in, I had to go for 16-17, 17-18, and then get a true 18-19 budget. The budget is now fully approved out. The county approved it. I cross-referenced it in-house and with the auditor, so I know the numbers are correct moving forward for next year's budget. Okay? So, review required expenditures. Line 1. Review the debt service schedules. Review faculty and staff salaries. Review the federal and state mandated regulations that apply to the budget. Go over fixed costs, heat, electric, sewer, etc. Review the health benefits. Go over mandated professional service that are required for the district. Ongoing building maintenance. We have risk management, that's the insurance that covers the district. We got food service operations. And we have what's called referendum soft costs. That will come up as we get into the referendum, okay? Now, as we put the board together, I started going through ways to start reducing costs to the district. Here are a couple things that we belong to help cut the cost of the district. First one is South Bergen Georgia Commission. We have E-rate educational consortium. That's a purchase group we use, and they give us a percentage back. What we spend, we get a percentage back at once. We have Unedited supply services. That's a large purchase group to buy school supplies to save money. We have Middlesex Regional Educational Services, another purchasing group. We have the insurance fund for property and liability. That's another large group we belong to cut costs. We have the Huntington County ESC cooperative purchasing. That's something new I'm bringing into the district for next year to buy supplies. And then, of course, we have the shared service agreement with Lyndhurst Township. So all that helps us save money in the district. Now, this is the revenue for the 18-19 budget. The tax levy is $38,039,648. That's approved out number. Everything that's on this budget is in the financial software. We use System 3000, so line by line, every cost is in there, by item, okay? Second, transportation fees. That's the Chubb facility. We're in year 3, heading into year 3 of a 5-year contract. They pay us $70,000 a year for busing. After the 5th year, that contract expires, and that cost is incurred by the district, not by the state. Okay? Next, tuition of the government sources is $127,642. Yeah, state aid is $2,483,548. You have 120, that's the federal state grant, that's $1,058,904. Miscellaneous revenue was pretty much what we get from local resources, that's $63,784. You have federal sources, that's the Medicaid reimbursement, the $39,316. The debt service tax levy is $649,622. And the total revenue for next year's budget is $42,535,464. Okay? What happened in the past is they didn't stick to the revenue side. So they wound up spending more money than they brought in, and that's how we went up the deficit. Okay? Going further into 1819, now we're not. We're going to prove it out in the software, and we're going to stick to it. Okay. Now, here is the slide that kind of breaks out the tax levy to each resident in the district. Up top is the current tax levy for 17-18. It was $41,719,709. The current budget going into 18-19, which was approved, is $42,535,464. The tax revenue from 17-18 was $36,860,579. The tax revenue for 2018-19 is $38,039,648. Sorry. That gives you an increase of 3.2%. Now, state laws that can increase the budget by 2%. The 1.2% over is my ability to take what's called a healthcare adjustment to offset the expense of healthcare costs of that. So that's what that 1.2% is. We give you 3.2%. Okay? That offsets all the healthcare costs to some point. Now, if your house is valued at $312,898, your tax on an annual basis is $193.84 per family. Now, let me kind of explain on this slide. It comes up where every dollar goes that we pull in from the tax levy. The first one is 10% goes to school operations. 14% goes towards school supplies. 17.5% goes to special education and the support services provided in the district. 19.5% is the health benefits for the district. And then 39% goes to salaries throughout the district. So that's kind of a condensed slide on where every dollar we pull in from revenue, how it's spent in the budget by category. Any questions on this slide? I try to make it as easy as I can to read. Thanks for listening. Now, Lyndhurst Board of Ed, what we do for our students and for the district in total. We create critical thinkers. We create collaborators. We create creators, of course. Communicators. And of course, very passionate students in the district. So we try to prepare the students for today to lead for tomorrow. That's the goal of the district. Get our students ready so when they walk out the doors, go up to college, and to work over, ready to go to work and go to school. They can progress from there. Now, let me review the 16-17 budget deficit breakdown to kind of refresh everyone's memory as I go forward. If you look at findings for school year 16-17, we have a deficit of $1,115,387. And that deficit just didn't happen overnight. It was kind of a build-up from the school year 14-15. And what was going on in the budget is that this office in the district was pulling from the fund balance each year, moving it forward to maintain its expenses and also offset some of the tax base. The problem is, as we were doing that, we were draining off the fund balance. When you're doing that, that's not going to cut, so you don't move the deficit. That wasn't done. So, internal auditing control procedures require revisions to avoid over expenditures. I've done that. That's now set in place for 18-19. review current fiscal plan, and recommend modifications moving forward. That has been done by the current board and myself moving forward. So the 18-19 budget is a true actual budget. Now, what happened in 16-17 was the business office, the alienated retro allowance that was set aside in that budget was spent to pay bills from that year. It should have been brought forward to pay bills, to pay the bill for the retro contract being signed in 17-18. That should have been brought forward in the budget. No, it was spent in 16-17 to pay bills, okay? Next. When you do that, you have to get county approval. Any fund transfer, in fund balance, that's what we call it, above 10%, you need county approval. That wasn't done. But if the county knew about it, they would never authorize it. They were never told about it. That's a problem. That's been rectified going forward. That was going on in the past. We're going to give you proof of the county. Anything above 10% requires county approval. There's no way around it unless you don't tell them about it. Okay, next. Our food service, we have to adequately project the enterprise cost. Right now it's in a deficit. It was underfunded. Now, the transportation for resident students, they call it TTRS projections. Over the past several years prior to my arrival, it wasn't done correctly. So in actuality, we were losing revenue from the state that you could have obtained. Going forward, it's corrected, and we're getting every dollar we can from the state. And here's the big reason why. Review current period classifications of the purchase orders. Those are your expenses that you incur that you put into the system. The problem was all the expenses weren't recorded in the right year. What happened was in 16-17, they incurred the expenses and took them off the system and brought them into 17-18. You can't do that. That's an accounting issue that's been corrected. You can't do that. Okay, you got to keep them seeing you can't bring them forward. You keep holding POs, bring that expense forward, but you get charged for the prior year. That wasn't done. Okay? And all of this was done behind the scenes. So the board might not have heard of the whole things now was going on in the business office, but since I've been here, everything's transparent. I'm trying to keep it that way. The sort of thing I do, they will know, and so will the residents. Okay? Next slide. Now, here comes what I had covered in the 17-18 budget. What happened was I had the old auditor trying to do a budget projection. It just wasn't coming out right in my eyes. The numbers I was getting didn't make sense between the software I had and what he was telling me. So I said, I'm meeting with the county VA to take his budget projections. I said to the county VA to prove my point that it wasn't right and all the audit was correct. It wasn't right. So he got to leave. I brought in the auditing firm, Lord Gaines. Mr. Bliss is here tonight to support me if I need it. I'm not found out for this year, okay? This year's deficit is $2,367,786. That's this year. Once again, it was all accounting issues, so that wasn't done correctly. So as I started to dig through it, come across it, I didn't wait for the full audit to be done before I could announce it. That was done about 2 weeks ago, so now it's being announced. Okay? That's one thing that's positive is I established a financial plan that is solid and sound for 18-19. Next year, there will not be a deficit. I can guarantee you that. Now, in this year's budget, the food service enterprise is currently budgeted by $30,000. That should not happen, but it did. Next one. The pre-K program was underfunded by $70,000. So seeing that, what do you think is going to happen in January of next year? We'll probably have to raise prices. I can't do it now, because if it went out in January, I'm going to reevaluate that and see what we can do, because I don't want another deficit in pre-K. Next. Now, here's where the big issue was. The estimated cost of the district self-insurance program was under budgeted by $1,355,310. That's the bulk of that. What happened was, in July, the business office, who held my seat at the time, went into this year's budget, pulled out the money to pay last year's bills. That's way out of deficit. Okay? Next. retro was not budgeted for this year, so it was supposed to be paid out of last year's budget. So when that money was spent in last year's budget, guess what happens this year? It's got to come out of this year's budget. And that was $476,009. So that also came out of this year's budget. So it was spent last year. Can't do that. So it was done, okay? Next. Then throughout the rest of the 20 county lines, the other lines that weren't budgeted effectively. Including of $436,467. That's all proven out by the order I have now. That's what trained me in the last position, so that's why I pulled back here, so I know this is about the book, and that's what I want. Okay, next. Now, also that hit us this year was the OFAC. That happened in 14-15 for $301,224. Okay, that number isn't in the deficit up top on the next slide, first that even more. Okay. Next. Now here is the actual precise deficit listings. Now kind of more details. First one is 16-17, $1,115,387. The amounts of just accounting issues at the business office. It wasn't done by protocol, by the county principals. And the issue I found out was the district wasn't having regular finance meetings. Well, first thing I did was establish finance meetings once a month. For the most part, I had them every week, but I got the ones approved out. And we got back to once a month, but that's what's going on all the time. So that's why you have these accounting issues. You need finance meetings. You need all committee meetings, all over the place going forward. Next one. This year's school deficit, the 17-18 is $2,367,786, and I just went through why that happened. Okay. Got an OFAC that now is included, so it's $301,224. So the entire deficit for the last 2 years, 16-17, 17-18, is $3,784,397. That's the 2-year deficit as of right now. And a lot of that was kind of the trickle effect going back from 14-15 on up, just by not having effective accounting principles and not having checks and balances at my office level. That's where it starts. Not so much the board, it starts with my office level.
I have to ask you, that's as of right now.
Right now.
Back in December, 1.5, that's 3.7.
That
That number could go up.
At this point, it's going to probably run go down, we hope. Could it go up? It's feasible, but I don't think so. Here's what happened. When I came here in September, I knew there was an issue with the budget from this year. So October 1st, I froze every line in the budget. The only thing I spent money on was contractually required and what we needed for the students. That we do. Everything else was frozen. Other than the safety issue, when I compare us to the buildings, that had to get done. Everything else was frozen. I kept money aside to pay for all the academic instruction, whatever class trips were required by the curriculum, all that was done. But anything else outside of that, line was frozen. Okay? That's how I was able to stop the bleeding from the budget by just freezing all the lines to keep that money intact at the end of the year. Okay? Any questions on this? This is the 2 years, 16-17, and the current year of 17-18. Okay?
Well, that's why you tend to have now for 15, 16, 17, 17, 17, 18, right?
Yes.
So that could eventually, because people who were running this didn't know what they were doing, but people they knew what they were doing because they were moving it before you. So we could be in a bigger hole.
I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but that's always a possibility.
And now are we being, is the state looking at this, or the county, or the outside, sorry, that was a while ago. Are they now looking at our next year's income because of the deficit that we have here?
I can't answer that, I really don't know. All I know for a fact is 14-15 is out there, and we got fined for that, and that's what I'm looking for. Now, we do have some positive things coming out of the district, other than our deficit, which is negative. Closing notes. School year budget for 18-19 was approved by the county, and they put me through the ringer getting that budget approved. They want to hold it back up, and I'm I'm like, I looked at the account, I said, why was this done prior? Why all of a sudden now? I was waiting for an answer, but at least I know my budget for 1819 was approved by the county, and I know all about it. But now the paperwork, right, because the approval of the board, okay? Next. The school year 1819 budget does have allowance to begin paying back our debt. I did build that into the budget. I have funds set aside to start paying back our debt, okay? That's the first thing I did was go through it, and pull aside what it means for that cost, and that's pull aside a new budget for that debt repayment and start going back, okay? Next. The current financial conditions will not impact the current referendum progression. That's a whole separate fund. That's a referendum fund, separate account, and it all stands by itself. Okay, so this, what's going on now, does not affect that part of it. Okay? Now, just so you know, phase 1 renovations will begin in June. As soon as school lets out, we're going to start renovating the high school. That's already set. Contract will be approved tonight. That work will start as soon as school releases June 22nd. It'll be the next day and it'll start working. Okay? Now, since we have a deficit of 3.7 million, with that happening, I'm required, and I request to get a state monitor, because now I have to borrow money from the state to pay back that debt. So in June, we're going to get a state monitor that will oversee the finances, to make sure what I'm doing is above par, it's all transparent, and you go from there. So what happens is, I'll borrow money from the state for a 10-year, no-interest loan, to pay back that debt. So we get the money in July, pay off all our debt, I got to pay back that loan, the next 10 years, no interest loan. That's how it works. But doing that, you get a state monitor. The state's got the state's money. I want to make sure you follow all procedures correctly. Nothing's going to happen. You really can't, because that's already proved out. You guys know that. Anything for that has to come from the state level, not from the state monitor.
So if we pay, if we pay off that loan before 10 years, monitors are out, they're here until the last 10 years?
No, they usually come in for 2 to 3 years before. Once they realize that they're now fiscally stable, they can back off and they can make spot checks. But you can figure for at least 2 to 3 years, we have a monitor here overseeing the finances. That's how we do that. Once you prove that we have everything right, you can follow the rules correctly, and then feel confident you're moving forward the right place, go back off. But that's up to the monitor how it works. Okay. Next slide. Okay. Now, any questions for me? Or okay. All right. I'll drop the projector. Let the board get back up in their seats. Then you can ask away. Okay.
questions for Scott, Mr. Bissett? Yes, Scott? Darren? Yeah.
I have a few, my voice, I'm not up now, so I apologize. First, I'd like to thank Mr. Bissett for his great presentation and the board members for all the work they've done. I have some questions, I don't know if I have time or not, but I'd like to ask them. You said it was no longer allowed. My question is, why was it allowed in the first place? Actually, not really, for anyone else. You said it was no longer allowed in 1819 going forward. Why was it never allowed in the first place that these things would happen? I don't understand. Like, I don't get what the process was. Like, you're going through a very thorough process, making sure all this stuff is taken care of. What happened before this?
I'm going to tell you exactly what happened, when all of this started taking place, and I have to say that on the board, we didn't catch this, what was going on, because we never had meetings. We had committees, but there were never any meetings called of those committees. When Mr. Bissett came on, the first thing he did was start finance committee meetings, okay? Well, there we go.
I think it's just important to say, too, just like you teach science and a colleague teaches English and a colleague teaches math, right? And your kids take all of their disciplines and they blend them and they apply their learning. It's very similar to a central office. A district cannot run without a superintendent for a day. A district cannot run without a school business administrator for a day. That's law. And that's because each person is trained very differently. Now, what ultimately happens is when one of those people is no longer present or is moving on and you're preparing for a transition, you now have to start, just like as a teacher you cover for a teacher, you now start covering for that position. So when we had a transition in that office, and I knew that transition was happening, my immediate response was now to be mirrored on everything. So now everything shifts offices. So what would have come through the business administrator's office now comes through the superintendent's office. And now you're exposed to seeing things that you didn't see before. And it really just sparked a lot of questions, a lot of inquiry, a lot of wonder. That's all it was. It was not my area of expertise, but it was wonder. And as we started wondering why I was being asked to sign POs in July that were paying tuitions in February, and why when I laid out all of those POs on my dining room table, the lines were coming from health insurance benefits. It just didn't make sense. And that was when, once Scott came on, we were able to identify what was in fact occurring.
So going back to what you said, who was responsible for calling these finances? Who would have been, who was the VA, or who was the person who would have said, oh, God, every month, every 3 months?
The process should work as a school business administrator is you talk to the board and it's your due diligence as the VA, set up finance meetings and keep the board members abreast of what's going on financially, so there's no surprises. You're trying to keep everything transparent as you can. So when I came in, I heard that there were never any finance meetings. Like, how's that possible? So the first thing I did was put a resolution, monthly finance meetings. To keep everything transparent, so the board knows what I'm covering. So as we move forward, this whole deficit will never happen again. Not longer. Okay? And that's the problem.
Okay. My next question is actually two-part. Food service was $30,000 unfunded and the pre-K was $70,000 unfunded? Why? Did you not know how much it cost, or where?
Okay, I can probably speak to the pre-K. I don't know if you want to do that, Shawna, but I can speak to the pre-K. When we took over the pre-K program, it was run by the recreation department, okay? And they were paying at the time their teachers half of what we had to pay once we took over the program. Okay? Not taking that into consideration or thinking about that, add that benefits, which they did, the recreation department never paid benefits, and doubling the teacher's salary, that's where we came into the deficit on that. Okay? Next.
What percentage of the tax bill is going to go back? Because you guys have, it was like 196, I think you said, per household.
193.
193. What percentage of that is going back to pay this man?
To pay the debt?
To pay the 3.784 million.
None of it. It's all built in.
So the amount that you're seeing for the 18-19 budget has a chunk of it designed and allotted simply for debt payback.
Okay. Do you guys know how many teachers were let go? I mean, even if it's temporary, do you have any number on that? Like,
I don't think, we haven't found that out as a board yet.
I don't mean permanently, I mean the actual.
No, we haven't found out as a board yet. Mrs. DeMarco.
Clarify your question. I don't understand
The
it.
number of non-tenures who were given pink slips.
Let's clarify this. Let's be very, very clear on this. This is super important.
Okay.
Anyone who is non-tenured or was part-time or hourly received a very clear letter stating that as of April, they could not be renewed because this hadn't happened yet. So you